Is there certain things you remember, kind of early teens? Like what high school did you go to?
I went to Lincoln ninth grade. Yes, and it was in the west end of town, and it was primarily Asian, Chinese, Japanese, hips, Mexican, and blacks. Not too many white people. We went to Sac High, and that's from 1949 to 52. When I graduated from high school, I went straight out to Berkeley, UC Berkeley, between 52 and 56. That's where I got my bachelor's. Thinking back, I've always thought that because my parents never had a good education, they knew that education was a very important part of life. They made sure that my brother and I had college education. I had four sisters, and they went to City College. But that if someone's interested in it, the one thing I have to tell them is that one thing you need to do is make sure you're interested in science and mathematics. Those are two of the most important ingredients of learning or studying engineering. And at least I found that to be the case. But there's a lot of unknowns, and so you're trying to get the best solution that you can, and at the most, what do you call it? I wouldn't say the cheapest, but the less costly.
Efficient.
Yes.
Everybody wants efficiency.
The two things: the best solution and the least cost.
That sounds like
that's not easy.
I'm finding that to be the early Chinese American way. Best solution, least cost. That's funny. That goes into government. I guess maybe we can transition from civil engineer. How did you go from being a engineer to going into public figure? Because that's a lot of commitment for sacrifice of
Let me just put it this way. My intention was never to become a politician. What happened, of course, is that when I came back from Berkeley, UC, and this was in 1959, but in 1963, I was working for the Department of Water Resources, and my senior boss was Roy Wong, and he was pushing for the drum and bugle corps at that time, and he talked me into participating. So that was my start of getting into community affairs, and it hasn't stopped ever since.
Wow. I mean, Mandarins today is a global organization. So
I'm proud of them, because what organization can you talk about that started back in the early 60s and still around? I mean, that's a long time.
Mm-hmm.
And it's been all voluntary. So I got to give them a lot of credit.
That really molded me as a young person. Mandarins influenced my life from 6th grade on. That was Don, he knows we had some great experience, but just being around other Chinese, because I grew up in River Park, which was East Sacramento, and there were no other Chinese around in my classes. I went to Sac High. I didn't go to Kennedy. So the only contact I had was visiting my dad's friends, or, going to Mandarins every Friday, Saturday. It was a really amazing part. Can you tell me a little bit about early Mandarins?
Early Mandarins, yeah, it was not the Mandarins, of course. It's I don't know when you joined the Mandarins, but it was called Yi Hua back then. Mm-hmm. And that was short for Yi Fao Zhong Hua. So you took the Yi and the Hua put together, called Yi Hua. And,
what does that mean, if you don't mind me asking?
That's Yi Fao is Sacramento, and Zhong Hua, of course, was the umbrella Chinese organization that encompassed representatives from all the Chinese organization, Zhonghua. Each of the, most of it was the family association, the Yee family association, the Lee, the Wongs, the Chans, and so they were all part of it. And of course, it also, well, that was basically most of it right there. That it's a association with representatives from all the different family associations. Back in those days, when you came over from Torshan or wherever in China, and you didn't know anybody, the best place to go is your own family association, because we welcome all the Yees. We accept as brothers and sisters, and it was a friendly place to come to and meet other people from your own, family.
Wow.
And my dad was very active in it, and I think that was his activities kind of wore on me. The fact that he was very involved in it kind of gave me a little emphasis to get more involved in our Asian community. Yi Lim Jung, but his name was Yi Chi Sam, and actually Sam Yi is sort of a adopted name. Yeah. And he ran a corner grocery store named Fulton Market. Yeah, he was there for a long time on 4th and Capitol Avenue, which is now the location for, I think it was the Wells Fargo building. Went through redevelopment, and as an Asian, we all lived on the West End, Japanese, Chinese, whatever, and they came in and just wiped us all out. They cleaned out the whole area, not a little bit at a time, just wiped everybody out, and so that was the end of Chinatown, and whatever you want to call it. I still can remember because I was at college at that time, and so I'm aware of what's going on. But my dad has worked for many years in that store, and when they came in and redeveloped everything, they closed up his shop, and he was just too old to restart again, and that made him sort of a forced retirement. But, nevertheless, that's what happened back then. It's, I go back down there every now and then. I can remember how the old district used to look. It's nothing like it today.